Hey there, I'm Joe Carter. If you've ever popped the hood and thought, where do I even start? You're in good company. Around here, we take the mystery out of car repair, one fix at a time. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to sharpen your skills, there's something here for you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're into learning without the headaches. All right, that's enough from me. Let's get into
Piston
it.
pin sticking in the upper piston head. As in the case of liners, the cause may be oil starvation. However, pin jamming is also caused by misalignment of the top head and piston pin. This misalignment results in localized zones of semi-dry friction and excessive tension, which can cause critical thermal expansion, scoring and jamming. Piston jamming in the cylinder due to engine overheating or impaired heat dissipation. A collapsed piston blocks connecting rod movement and crankshaft rotation. Unqualified engine repair. Incorrect selection of thermal clearances when assembling the cylinder, crankshaft, not eliminated malfunctions of the lubrication system can cause the above described failures. Also, the cause of the wedge can be bolts, nuts, carelessly dropped into the cylinders or intake tract. A bent valve blocks the movement of the piston. The main cause of the meeting of valves with pistons is the breakage of the timing belt. After breakage or jumping several teeth of the timing chain and impact, the valve stem is bent. Severe deformation leads to the fact that the valve cannot move along the guide and blocks the movement of the piston on the approach to TDC. Similar consequences will lead to a valve looseness. How to realize that the engine has caught a wedge? The idea that the engine is stuck comes after the starter retractor relay clicks, which is not followed by crankshaft rotation. It is likely that the starter clicks but does not turn because of a dead battery or a faulty starter itself. To determine the jammed engine, you need to try to crank the crankshaft manually. You can do this in two ways: crank the crankshaft with a wrench for the pulley mounting bolt. The disadvantage is that on most modern cars the underhood layout limits access to the pulley. Do not attempt to turn the crankshaft by towing the vehicle with a cable. If the engine is jammed, trying hard to turn the crankshaft can cause more damage. What to do and the best way to repair a jammed engine. Suppose that the engine on your car did seize, but you do not want to disassemble it completely for a complete overhaul. In this case, remove the timing belt and try to turn the gear and camshaft. If the pinion does not turn in the direction of the CV rotation, it is likely that the engine is stuck because of the valves. In such a case, it is recommended to start repairing the jammed motor by removing the valve cover, cylinder head. If the crankshaft pulley does not rotate in any direction, dismantle the pallet to remove the bead of the main liners, lower connecting rod head covers. If you find backed up, tack to the crankshaft and check liners. Replacing the plain bearings will still not be enough. We recommend not only checking the oil pump, but also removing the crankshaft to blow out the oil supply ducts with compressed air. It is likely that the oil supply ducts are clogged, resulting in a localized lack of lubrication. If the sleeve bearings are normal, it is necessary to remove and defectivize the cylinder assembly. Oil starvation. Lack of engine oil in loaded friction pairs leads to dry friction, which causes parts to overheat rapidly. Expansion due to heating leads to a reduction in the thermal clearance, and due to the temperature rise, localized melting zones appear on soft alloy parts. This is the destructive effect of oil starvation on crankshaft plain bearings and connecting rods. Crankshaft liners are often the first to suffer in the event of a drop in oil pressure, as they are the most stressed when the engine is running. Due to high temperature, the liners and the journals of the rotating crankshaft are seized. The consequence is the turning of the liners in the beds and the appearance of a characteristic knock. In such cases it is said that the engine knocked. When the problem is aggravated, the liner joint pair is seized so strongly that after stopping the engine and attempting to start the starter simply cannot turn the crankshaft. This is the main sign of a jammed motor. Low oil pump performance. Read about characteristic faults and methods of checking in the article, How to Properly Check the Oil Pump, Clogged Oil Receiver. Mesh, low oil level in the engine. If the level is significantly exceeded, the crankshaft counterweights begin to whip the oil and saturate it with air, which is also fraught with deterioration of lubrication of the rubbing pairs, emulsion appearance due to mixing of oil with water, coolant, unsuitable. Composition, viscosity of engine oil, clogged oil supply channels to the piston pin, lubrication lines of crankshaft liners. Engine overheating. Critical temperature rise leads to excessive thermal expansion of the cylinder components. The piston is subjected to greater thermal stresses than the cylinder during combustion. It should also be taken into account that most pistons are made of aluminum, which has double thermal expansion compared to cast iron. Reduced clearance between the piston and cylinder wall leads to semi-dry friction as the oil film is displaced by the expanding piston. Zones of localized overheating occur at the contact points, causing the piston to press against the cylinder wall with increasing pressure. This is the cause of the first scoring. Further thermal expansion leads to an increase in the coefficient of friction and jamming of the piston in the cylinder. In this case, the engine stalls and does not start again. In some cases, after cooling down, the engine can still be cranked with the starter, but it will not work normally. The saddest version of the development of events is the engine stopping with a characteristic knock and friendship fist. To prevent the engine from jamming as a result of overheating, we recommend comply with the manufacturer's tolerances when choosing antifreeze. Keep an eye on the coolant level, understand the symptoms of thermostat malfunction, cooling system pump failure, so that if necessary to check the correctness of the thermal valve, replace the water pump, periodically flush the engine cooling system radiator honeycomb device of the lubrication system of the car. In conclusion, understanding why engines wedge is crucial for effective maintenance and repair. By accurately identifying the root cause of a wedge, you can take proactive measures to prevent serious issues such as overheating and oil starvation. Remember, a well-functioning starter is essential for turning the crankshaft, and recognizing the signs of a wedge early can save you from costly overhauls. Stay vigilant, perform regular checks, and ensure your engine remains in optimal condition to avoid the pitfalls of a wedge. Thank you for watching, and take care of your engine.